Welcome back to the moon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Talking on the Moon, the first blockchain metaverse podcast studio on the moon. And I'm excited because I'm always able to bring my friends up to the moon, which I never thought I'd be able to do even a couple months ago. And now I'm able to do this. And brought my friend Dave, DCintheCity. Now he's up here on the moon with us. How was the ride up, man?
Smoother than you would expect. It's not what they tell you on TV. It was like a blink. Not. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's just like a quick little click. You didn't even have to pack nothing.
No. As a matter of fact, and super comfortable too. All the comforts of home.
I would think so, and that's why I brought the chairs. I did my best with the fire pit. I didn't think this went through. There's no oxygen up here, so I can't light it.
Yeah, well, you're a comic, not a scientist.
Exactly. I have to focus on my strengths, not my weaknesses. I don't want strong weaknesses. Right. I just want strong strengths, and we'll just keep it like that. So yeah, this is we're here in the metaverse. This is tied to one of my lands that I have in Madagascar, and we do this pretty often. So welcome. I'm happy to have you up here with us.
Yeah, man, happy to be here. This is the start of something great.
Thank you. So let's introduce you. Who are you? Let's introduce you to the audience, and then we'll start from there.
So I'm DCintheCity. My name is Dave. Everybody calls me DC. I am a producer. I'm a director. I'm an editor. I'm a writer. I started out, editing videos on a laptop. As a matter of fact, 13 years ago today was my Twitter anniversary. 13 years ago today. Thank you. 13 years ago today, I had to pick a screen name to go on Twitter, which was my first social media app. And so I was like, well, what throwaway name can I use? Because this is like stupid and I'm not going to, so I chose DCintheCity because I was in the city sleeping on my buddy's couch.
Okay.
And here I am, DCintheCity now. That's my brand. That's my life. That's what I do for a living. And we're on the moon doing an interview in the metaverse, which didn't even exist then. And this is 13 years to the day that I created the name DCintheCity. And so right now I pushed my video production, my video editing into the digital. I started creating NFTs. I met Nifty Comedians. They introduced me to you. And now we're here together building performance, building live events in the metaverse.
It's exciting to see it all kind of come together now because we've been talking for months now, and to see it all happen. So, by the way, happy anniversary or birthday,
Thanks,
Twitter
man.
birthday. I don't know what that is. You're actually your Twitter anniversary is at the same age as Bitcoin almost. So this all coincides. And I'm not asking you to do this, but it would be kind of cool to see you graduate to DC on the moon. I'm just saying, because now you're not in the city anymore. You're everywhere. DC everywhere. That should be the new one.
You know something? That's pretty amazing. After we get off this, I'm going to have to talk to my lawyers.
That's a lot of work.
Guy. Yeah. It's a lot of work for them, but that's what I'm paying them for.
Okay. All right. Well, then fine. Yeah. Get it done. All right. So obviously we're here in a metaverse, but you brought up the metaverse. So what got you attracted to the metaverse? And why are you what are you into this for?
Well, here's the thing for me is that I always have imagined big. And so there's no more limitless platform or opportunity, than the internet. And what the metaverse is offering is an extension of that and an even further extreme in every direction. And so for someone like me, who I like to imagine all the possibilities and all the different ways that we can go, this is like a dream come true. As a kid, when I was a child, these things, the best we could do is a tape recorder and like a video, like a VHS video camera, that you had to stop the camera yourself and then restart to make edits and stuff as a child. So to see the amount of creativity that's possible now while we are in our prime is something that was it was undeniable and something that I needed to be involved in, because I knew that this was where my skills and my abilities would be used to their fullest, because there's no limits. There's literally no limits.
I agree. It almost feels like not necessarily orchestrated, but it almost feels like the stars were aligned, because we're around the same age. We were around, pretty much into the same stuff. And, here we are doing the same, relatively the same, thing in the same capacity. And I agree with you, and I like to think that this podcast alone is one example of what you said, of just like limitless imagination. Like, this is so silly. This isn't, on the surface, like it's incredible. On the back end, it's me and you talking, through the internet, and just being recorded and put out. But look around, like, I'm like, here, let's put up this goofy looking sign. Let's put the butt of the earth above us. Like, there's a spaceship that everybody can't see, but I can be out of here.
Think back, like I know when I was a kid, I used to do like my little radio shows on a tape recorder, and I would like interview my cousin when they came over. You know what I mean? But in our imagination, this is where we were,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, these are the types of things that these are the types of places we were placing ourselves. These are the types of imaginary, like, limitless, impossible circumstances that we were just existing in as unbridled imagination children, right? And now we're at the point where we are able to create that. You know what I mean? Like, what a come up.
Right.
What a come up, right?
It really is. And it's just one of these things where it's just like taking a run.
Yeah, and to be like at this moment in history, like you said, the stars are aligned. Like, there are great moments throughout history, and there are people who get to experience them. And for all the really shitty things, I'm allowed to say shitty, right, on this podcast.
We're on the moon.
Shitty things, I'm allowed to do whatever I want on the moon. All the shitty things that we've had to deal with and say, oh man, we're living through this period in history now. I can't believe I'm living through this period in history with the pandemic and this and that and the other thing. There are some pretty amazing things with this period in history that, in a couple of years, when we look back, we're pioneers also, and so I feel fortunate to have been able to live through this part of history and to still be in my prime to see those tape recorder dreams come to fruition.
That's exciting to put it that way. And for you to say, like, for you to put it like that, to say that you're, that we're in our prime, we are. We're at a point now where we and anybody at this point really can get to that point where they're in their prime. I want to say relatively quickly. I would never say it overnight. Definitely not within a couple of weeks. But like, you kind of get the hang of this.
Longer too,
right? And the way that I built this and the way that I've figured all this kind of stuff out is just tinkering and breaking it about 600 times before the first one, kind of took off. And it's just like, like I told, we were talking earlier, and I've said this before. I built one of these rooms in a building with like a table and microphones and like, pictures in the back. And I'm like, this is stupid. Use your imagination, goof off. Like, what's going to really make this stand out? Like, other than, oh, that's neat. They got a podcast studio in the metaverse. Oh, why are these two guys talking on the moon? There's a duck with 3D glasses talking to a robot. What's happening here? And
being filmed by a panda bear. Being filmed by a panda bear. Don't forget our panda bear friend. This is amazing. Yeah. But now let me ask you this question, because just something you mentioned made me think of something. Now, you tried and broke it, and you messed it up a couple times before you fixed it or before you found it, right? That intuition, that try again, that, like, figure it out myself thing. Are we lucky that we developed that when we did? Is that something that people are developing now as in the same way? That intuition, that sort of try it again, make it work type thing? Are we lucky that we developed that?
I feel like it was kind of always there, right? I mean, think back to Edison, stealing ideas from Tesla to build the light bulb, right?
Allegedly.
No, I'm just, so this story is what he made it like, apparently he made like 9,999 light bulbs before the 10,000 one worked, right? And that's the metaphor. So, I mean, it's kind of always been around, right? I don't know how many rocks they had to, chip away to build the first wheel. So, that never give up thing. But now that you can do this literally from your house, if you're locked in a room, and as long as you have an internet connection and, a phone and maybe a decent enough laptop, you can do all this. And you can just try it again and again and again and again. Plus, the other thing too is, I wouldn't say, if you're not like that, I don't know that I'd necessarily recommend it, because it also comes from control freakness too, where it's just, and perfectionism, where it's like, this isn't right yet. And I don't want to put this out yet. And so there's definitely a sprinkle of that, maybe a big sprinkle.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is not. There's no half-assing anything like this. There's no half-assing, and I think it's very apparent when people do. You know what I mean? It's maybe never been more apparent when people are half-assing things, whether it's their NFT product or their metaverse product or their comedy product, their performance product. You know what I mean? I think that the consumer is getting a little bit smarter and a little bit wiser.
Sure.
And
so people can see that because I'm a consumer too, so I look at that. And the second I can see it, I like to believe that I'm blessed with this, but I think most people have it. They can smell bullshit very quickly, and I never want that feeling coming from someone that's I'm trying to attract into this. See, the thing that I'm shilling here is just what you said. Like I'm not saying like, here, buy these tokens and then everybody's going to be able to vote on this, and then or it's going to moon, or you're going to make all this crazy money. The only thing I'm really showing is an experience. So all my shows are free, all the stop buys are free, and whatever. There's benefits for members that show up to shows and they'll get drops and that sort of thing, but that'll log in with their wallet and they get extras or whatever. But you don't have to have all that.
Right. I think you're building a bridge is what you're doing, because your purpose is different. Your purpose isn't to like you said, like when you say you're shilling, you're shilling, but you're not, because like shilling is you're trying to like get people to buy your shit. Like you're pushing, you're trying to build a bridge and bring people, you're trying to like on board is really what you're doing. You're trying to like welcome people. You're trying to show people, hey, look at all the fun things that we're doing in a not trying to sell you something kind of way. And that's something that's unique within the space as well too, because most NFT artists, and this is something that I mentioned. I work with Nifty Comedians. NiftyComedians.io is an NFT marketplace for comedians, for stand-up comedy clips. So if you like stand-up comedy, you can go to NiftyComedians.io. You can browse stand-up comedy clips. You can collect, like for example, Mike, you have some comedy clips on NiftyComedians.io that you can collect. Now, the interesting thing about NiftyComedians.io, or Nifty Comedians as an NFT marketplace or an NFT platform, as it relates to other NFTs, is that the artists that are in an NFT, that make an NFT, they are the artist. They run the collection. They run the Discord. They run the Twitter. They run the whole thing. The artists in Nifty Comedians are the comedians who are not actually NFT artists. They're most of them aren't even really involved in the crypto space, right? So we have absent artists. We have artists that we have to onboard the artists just as much as we're trying to onboard the audiences. So you have a unique, and I have a unique challenge, and not just, hey, check out my NFT. Hey, let me show you my project that I'm working on. But no, let me show you the benefits of this space. Like, let me show you as an artist, as a performer, all of the things that you can do with this. Like, you can have any studio you want with any type of guest that you want, and broadcast to any type of panda bear that you want, and talk to the 8 billion people on the planet. Instead of and Matt Ritter, a comedian that I spoke to just the other day, made an excellent point. Would you rather talk to the 8 billion people, and the panda bear, or the 7 people you can drag to your show on a Thursday night? Right.
No, I agree. So the best part is being able to do both. And the on-ramping thing is a, whether it's a challenge or whatever it is, it's an interesting thing for sure, because it's more than just like when someone sends you something to sign up for. Typically, most people sign up right there on the spot. If someone's trying to onboard you into, all right, hey, look, you can get into crypto with just simple, easy things. Like with this, you can watch it on YouTube and then maybe follow links and figure it out from there. Crypto boxes, for instance, you can just click on your phone and you're there. You're not signed in, but at least you got your foot in the door. But to walk someone through the wallet part and all those things, that's an important, I'm very rigid when it comes to those things, in a sense where, like, if someone's trying to teach you how to be, go from a white belt to a black belt, and they're very serious with you up front in the most important shit, like, always keep your hands up. And that's what that thing is to me, is like, if I'm going to on-ramp you, don't just write this down and forget your wallet, because what happens if all of a sudden you just start getting flooded with people love your stuff, all your shit starts selling, and you forget your password and you're screwed. And there's no way to recover or whatever. So it's an important step into figuring out how to trickle your money and take it, safely and whatever. But the other part of it too is a friend of mine literally just texted me this morning. I finally got into crypto. I got my first whatever. And I was like, good, welcome. I was like, he's like, took me forever, I said, look, you're finally getting into something you're realizing these are unseizable assets. So this is the important shit where people, when you think about that and you get into this and you build these characters and you got to figure out how best protected they are. Once you're past that, sky's the limit. I'm in Decentraland thanks to Meta Party with a skateboard. I'm ollieing over benches. I'm doing crooked grinds. I'm like riding up and down this mega ramp. It's incredible. People send me like glasses and earrings and like sneakers and whatever. It's so cool. And I get to goof around and like just do that. I can go skating on a rainy day in the blockchain. It's crazy.
Yeah. You can hang out on the moon, and you can do all that other stuff. Like it's just showing people the opportunities, like making them understand that it's a real thing, not just a video game, or not just a transient sort of, there's just something that people are doing for fun or whatever. No, there's real opportunities here. There's real communities here. And what's interesting? I was just on Twitter earlier, because we exist on Twitter and it's really hard to unplug. Somebody was making the point that actually, believe it or not, this was, and I'm almost ashamed to say it, I was on Facebook earlier, and there was a photographer. There was a photographer and her boyfriend, and they were both like sort of having this public sort of conversation about how the photographer's community is so negative, and they're so not friendly to each other, and they're so like backbiting, and they're so whatever. And my like there was the whole 40 comment thread, how Facebook goes, and I just and I almost never comment on Facebook at all, but I just wrote in there, I was like, NFTs are the answer to this. Send. Because trying to explain to somebody who's not in an NFT community or a crypto community, but more specifically an NFT community, for the most part, trying to explain to them that it is a friendly internet community and an accepting internet community, and a community that will, by and large, you'll find somebody who you can work together with or that you can vibe with, as opposed to what people think the internet is, which is, random people arguing from their mom's basement and so on and so forth. Trying to convince people of even that fact, that there's a better way. There's a better, for you as a photographer, for you as an artist, for you as a comic, for you as this. There's a community that's not only welcoming, but wants to see what you do. They want to see what you've got. Like, what's your art? Share it with me. Do you have because I like to dream big. I like to try to put things together. So we have I've had such a great opportunity with the show Crypto Late Night that I created and host. It's a late night talk show format for the crypto space, where I've been able to interview a lot of artists in the space, like actual picture artists, painters, and so on and so forth. What kind of an opportunity is there for these artists to draw and paint and create these physical works, to now connect with these performance artists, right? And have these art shares where the physical art could be, let's say, an album cover or a representation for this particular piece, and now we can start sharing utilities and things of that nature. There's so many opportunities that this welcoming community can provide, that the regular internet, that the internet people are normally used to, would never even offer, because it's so negative all the time. And just getting people to understand that fact is a challenge.
So here's proof of that, and me patting my own self on the back for this, but this is just one specific example. Yesterday, I was at breakfast, and the next table over to me was a giant family, and like the grandparents were there, the parents, and all the grandchildren had to be in their early 20s. I'm just eating my pancakes, and all of a sudden I hear blockchain. So I pop up and I'm just listening now. I'm not looking, but I'm listening. And they go on and on and on and on. And then one kid starts talking about him being a musician, and then something about when he makes enough money, he'll be able to do X, Y, or Z. So he said, so he really needs to sell his NFTs. And I was like, this is a wrap. All right, wait. So I wait, I finish, I pay the bill. I walk over to the table. Good morning, everybody. Sorry to interrupt. You make NFTs? I look right at the kid, and he goes, well, he was very humble about it. Said, I'm a musician. And I said, look, I'm going to let you guys get back to your breakfast. I don't want to stay here long. Excuse me. And they're like, no, you're fine. I said, I appreciate that. No. What do I look up? And the kid says, Ben Kessler. So I type in Ben Kessler. He's a musician from Philadelphia. Look him up. He's got NFTs on OpenSea, and it's just like, holy shit. So he's got them for sale. Buy them so this kid can do whatever he wants to do. But that whole welcoming type of community, like, I don't know, maybe that was just me, but maybe this community attracts that type of mentality. It attracted me, and it attracted a whole bunch of other people. It attracted this cool ass kid that told his grandparents and his parents, chill out, let me talk to this dude real quick. I had on a wax shirt, like a wax blockchain shirt. So like even like he knew what that was, and I was like, oh shit, all right,
he's
bang.
like, oh,
like
he's a friendly.
Yeah, he's like, oh, okay, yeah. So it was just really cool to see that. So I follow him on Twitter, and like this is what happens. This is how this community grows. Like I don't know what that'll turn into. Don't really, I care, but I don't, you know what I mean. At the same time, but like this is so neat to see. That's what this community is. NFT NYC was nuts. Those guys were very smart to give everybody sweatshirts and hoodies because in a city of 8 million people, you're able to spot each other like all within that whatever block radius. It was just such a cool community. That's what this is. And jump in, and then if you hate it, leave. Like, but you won't.
Well, yeah, and very true, very true. You definitely won't. And what you mentioned is that the space attracts these type of people, and I think that you're right about that. The space does attract, and it will I think all of the people who are going to be attracted because they're that type of people will first be brought in. You know what I mean? And we're all being sort of like attracted first.
So what's next? What's in the works? I've seen the show. I've been on the show for Crypto Late Night, but I know that there's more to DC in the City than just the show. So like, where are you guys? What are you doing?
So okay, so I mean that's a multi-layered question. So of course I mentioned I'm working with Nifty Comedians in like a creative capacity. We're going to be producing some metaverse events both in VR and on the non-VR platforms like CryptoVoxels and so on and so forth. So like our goal is, as yours is, to bring more stand-up comedy, more streaming stand-up comedy into the metaverse, more live performance into the metaverse. So I'm going to be, partnering with different clubs and different comedians and producing events for the different various. My goal is ultimately to be able to provide content and provide events and provide performances, because metaverse clubs and metaverse venues are opening up and are being created all the time. And now it's an opportunity. Like this is it's somebody's job to make the people in the real world aware of that, and to create those opportunities for them, and say, hey, I'm booking these shows, I'm creating these events, I'm executing the streaming and all that stuff. So there's going to be a lot of live performance that we're going to be bringing to the metaverse in different venues across the different platforms. Again, like you mentioned, Crypto Late Night is talk show based platform. So you're going to see me behind a desk. You're going to see, a co-host on a couch. You're going to see the guests whenever possible in real life on a couch, because part of the focus of that show is to highlight the people behind the projects, because it's easy to forget, in these situations that, there's a lot of people, I promise you, that don't realize that you're actually not a duck. So what we like to do is just like remind people that there's a human being, somewhere deep inside that duck. Somewhere in that duck's soul is Mike Salvi's soul. We want to exactly. And so we want to bring Mike Salvi's soul to the people on Crypto Late Night. And so, but of course, it's all about fun. It's about we play games, we do contests and jokes and giveaways and all these types of different things. So that is a variety show that we drop. We used to be doing it weekly. Now we drop it like an NFT. So when we have a special feature, we drop it when it's ready. We recently featured a project that just dropped that, he's went into his new generation. So we did like a special feature on him. As we see them fit, we're going to drop them, because I think that that's more like aligned with how the NFT space works. And when something special happens, we'll be there for it. You know what I mean? So we're going to be doing a little bit of traveling. We're going to try to get a little more nationwide. I miss Denver, but I have been invited to LA. So you never know. You might see me on the left coast. And then from there, I mean, what I would like to do is just continue to build relationships with artists in the space. And that doesn't just include people who are, like I said, painting and drawing and doing the graphic arts and things of that nature, but performance as well, because I think it's probably my role when it's all said and done, like if I was to step back, is to provide that human element to Web3, is to help bring the performance artists and the real life art to Web3. I think that, like, if I had to step back and sort of define it, so that's going to be where I see myself fitting in, producing content that pushes the boundaries of what NFTs have been so far, and includes more art and includes more people and helps to push NFTs and help push the Web3 and crypto to its fullest and highest and best use in all directions.
I think the both of us, and we having comedy as the umbrella, or whatever you want to call it.
It's one of the universal languages. It is.
It's like a cheat code. It really is.
Yeah.
No, I know. But but it is. It's like a cheat code in a sense. But it's like, people want to have fun. We live in a world where World War II, like, you don't need to wear your mask no more. Nobody gives a shit. We might all die on Wednesday, so it's just like, so.
Not before this episode comes out, I hope.
No, yeah, definitely. But even if we're fine, we're protected from any blast up here.
Well, I keep forgetting that. I keep forgetting.
Hit me up. People are gonna send you potassium iodide. Like, you don't need that. Just hit me up. I'll send you the link to the moon. We'll be good up here. We're protected, even if there is any blast. See all these rocks around us. We'll see.
Yeah, this is diabolically brilliant, and on the opposite side of the world from all the troublemakers too. Look at you.
Yeah. I like to think I know what I'm doing here. It's safe up here. I like it here. It's a nice little getaway. It's like I come up here to meditate.
And that's probably not the only
talk to my
8
friends.
you do up here.
Let's not talk about that, okay? But I don't invite my friends for the other 8, okay? It's my own little 8.
Fair enough. That happens behind the rocks, I imagine. And there's got to be another little alcove up here somewhere that you're not showing people.
Let's not talk about it, okay? Some things are private in the metaverse, and some things are private in the blockchain world.
It's all on chain, bud. It's all on chain. The truth will out, as they say.
Ring signatures. Listen, Monero, I know what to do, okay? I've been around long enough, okay? It's not my first time on the move.
Look, he's working just as hard to create Web3 as he is to cover his tracks in Web3, and that's a hard-working man. So, show your respect to this duck right here.
Shout out to me, my duckness.
Oh man.
So all right, so this is what I like to ask people. What's your best experience and your worst experience? Let's start with the best experience, because the worst experiences are usually funny. Like, it's just in crypto in general.
Best experience in crypto in general. Shit. I mean, this might sound corny or sappy or whatever, but I'll be honest with you. It's the community. It's joining this community and gaining a level of acceptance that A, I never expected, and B, that exceeded what I thought would be possible. And the relationships, the friendships that I've made with people that like, you in real life live an hour from me. I would never have met you before. You know what I mean? We would never be having this conversation. I've met people literally on the opposite side of the planet who I talk to on a regular basis. And these opportunities, these connections, these relationships, which, again, to be like sort of corny, I really do believe that human life, like the meaning of life, is relationships, is connections between people. And so that opportunity is the best thing that's happened. Easily.
I agree. I've seen crypto bring more people together in such a positive way. Yeah, there's shit, but there's shit everywhere, right? But once you get through that, I mean, I really have. I've seen it bring people together and bring people to, just different personal perspectives and things that they learn about, personal responsibility, financial responsibility, how to do it all. And
think of all the different projects, like the different connections. Like, for you made the example of NFT NYC. The people who met there for the first time, and the projects that were born out of those conversations, and you know what I mean, like that, those opportunities, those sort of connections between brilliant person on this side of the world and brilliant person on that side of the world.
If there is a purpose to be in here, I think it's what you said. For people to connect, and then from there, build something. Like, I'm a huge Terrence McKenna nerd, and he's always talked about how, like, the universe is this novelty creating engine where, like, the whole point of this universe is to, like, make something new and figure out something new. We're going to look back on history and see, like, people during the 60s, maybe they realized it, maybe they didn't, but that was that was probably one of the most, like, standout decades in the 20th century. What was it? 19th century?
20th.
20th century, whatever the fuck it was. That just happened. And this one already, like,
we're not mathematicians. We're not
mathematicians. Let's remember that. Last century. But this time around, like all this stuff, like you see these memes of people saying like, I'm sick of living through, these historical events. I think it's interesting, just to wake up one day and see what's
the
next.
historical events. Otherwise it'll be boring as hell, man. I don't want to live through some dark age bullshit. Like, give me some excitement, man. If I'm going to go out,
it's great for comedians. Yeah. It's great for, it gives us material. I'm sure everybody's got something about Putin and Ukraine and whatever, and
hey, man.
Police funding and all this crap. So
variety is the spice of life. So spice it up.
All right. So I agree that, meeting people and staying with, genuine connections is probably been my best experience too. What's your worst experience?
That is definitely okay. So my worst experience is
that you're willing to share anyway.
Okay, I'll be as open as I possibly can without naming names. Is that it is also just as easy as it is to make connections with people who are great people. There's a downside to Web3 in that there's a certain degree of Wild Westness about it, and there's a certain degree of lawlessness and sort of anarchy. Not anarchy like total, but there's a certain degree of basic normal societal rules don't apply to us because we're Web3. And so there are some ugly behaviors that I've seen, and some people who, like I said, just don't think that basic human decency and basic human behaviors apply to them because this futuristic world, I don't know if I can make my robot do air quotes, this futuristic world that we're in, we haven't also learned anything from the 10,000 years of human civilization leading up until now. Like, none of that matters anymore, and I can just treat people like garbage because it's Web3 and you don't know my real name and I'm a PFP. So sure. Like, to me, that is a sort of dangerous and toxic sort of pervasive feeling that exists. And in my estimation, it's something that will ultimately, that Web3 like will stamp out of itself because it can't sustain and have Web3 grow, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's the type of thing, like the people who are like again, like doxing is sort of a hot topic, whether people know who you are in real life, whether people don't know who you are in real life. Now, as a performer coming into it as somebody who you are very comfortable knowing who people are, who you are in real life, and me the same way. Like, when I first came into the space, I was like, I made it a point to not make my PFP a picture. I made it me, my face, to make sure that people knew that it was me because I wanted to be represented as who I was. I think that undoxed thing is going to have to go by the wayside to a certain degree, because we still have to remember that we are people and we do have to abide by certain sort of like human decency standards and regulations, and it is important to still abide by certain rules. So I guess that's a really long way to say I've seen some really fucked up shitty people do some really fucked up shitty things and take no accountability for it because they think they can, because it's Web3, and they're hiding behind Web3 as an excuse. That's bad for Web3, and I want to see it go.
Yeah, I get that. So, and the follow up to, well, so I mean, you kind of danced around like, how it affected you, and that's fine. I don't care. But the better thing is, what can people do to, like, what should newer people know coming into this space? That's always a follow up to what's your worst experience. Like,
the newer people, I guess, should know who you're dealing with. Don't rush into things too quickly. Because things can be very intoxicating. This whole space can be very intoxicating when you're seeing all these new things, these new opportunities. Everything can be very intoxicating, and so just be careful of what things are being offered to you, promised to you. Make sure that you know who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with something that's really important to you, mitigate your risks. Understand that if you're dealing with someone who you don't know their name, you don't know who they are, you don't know how to get in touch with them beyond a PFP on a screen, and they could delete their Twitter and you would never contact them again. Understand that fact before you take the next step. And that doesn't mean don't, do or don't or whatever. I'm not here to make your decisions for you, but I'm just saying that, like, make sure that you don't rush into things. Don't get too overexcited. This space can be very intoxicating, so things can be very exciting. And so what I would say is, make sure you know who you're dealing with. Make sure that if you're dealing with someone who could delete their Twitter and change their screen name today, and you would never be able to get in touch with them again, be aware of that before you do anything, because that happens in Web3, where you don't know who you're dealing with. When the Twitter is gone, the Discord is gone, you've been rugged, and there's nothing you can do. So just know that going in, what you're dealing with, or what your risks are, and you'll be okay. Like, you just keep your eyes open. It's just like anything else. Everything's beautiful and intoxicating and exciting and whatever, but it's just as fucking real and grimy as anything else. So just watch your back.
I agree. Okay, cool. All right, well, I appreciate you coming up here, man. Are you good getting back? Do you need a ride, or you're able to do what you got to do?
Well, I'm gonna go look for that other room, that other little alcove, real quick. You guys just stay here. You guys
okay?
Stay
wear
here.
Your gloves.
I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna check this place out, and if you get the opportunity, definitely come visit Mike on the Moon. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's a great time. You can come check out the studio even when I'm not here. So, but that's only for members. So we'll get into all that later. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been talking on the Moon here on the first blockchain metaverse podcast studio on the Moon. I think maybe in the universe, but it's for sure on the Moon. This has been DC in the City. Follow them. I'll put all your links down here in the YouTube description.
Thank you. So thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you.
Always a pleasure. Well, I'll see you very soon, and I'll see you guys next time I can.
Oh, listen, before I end this, this is the bonus. Shitcoin, April 5th, April 6th, down in Miami. Put it on your radar.
April 5th, April 6th, down in Miami.
Yeah, Shitcoin Conference. Yeah, which is we usually tailgate it with the Bitcoin Conference. So there is a Bitcoin Conference that week, but a few days before is the Shitcoin Conference. So we'll all be down in Miami for that week. You guys should definitely come by.
April 5th and 6th?
Yes.
All right, we'll see what we can do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hope to see you at Shitcoin. Follow us, subscribe. Thank you.